I think you kind of forget to be anxious in a Maggie's centre, so that's probably why you can open up.
This could be the front room, the sitting room of your coolest friend.
It was like falling onto sort of a cushioned pillow. The volunteers in there were just so lovely.
Centres are free. All you have to do is just walk in the door and you'll immediately get welcomed to a kitchen and a cup of tea, and you'll be able to get the support for yourself with cancer and your family and friends, and that support is both the practical, social, psychological and emotional needs that you as an individual and a family need to get through a diagnosis of cancer.
It's a brilliant service not only to the patient, but certainly to the patient's family and to the doctors themselves, which is why it's so smart that there's this link, because their patients will be happier, better, and respond better to what they're meant to be doing and understand better what they're doing if they've got a place in which they can reflect and have fun and laugh and drink tea.
But the idea that you can go out of that building into this building having received news which is going to change your life forever, and come into this building, and not to take away from what the doctors do. If you're a surgeon, you don't have the time to spend hours and hours explaining how someone is going to feel a year after this surgery or 2 years after this surgery. But in here, they can do that, and they have the experience and the knowledge to do that.
It's not a sign of weakness coming in the front door, it's a sign of empowerment, and that empowerment, you can see people physically as they come in, their whole body sort of opens, and
well, we're living
so there's
to
a cultural shift.
A real shift. It's a worldwide shift.
And I think Maggie's has been part of that, and the architecture of saying it's not something to be embarrassed about, to shy away from.
No.
We've got good, strong
That's right.
buildings that's saying, we're here.
Yeah, exactly.
We can do this together.
And you don't have to hide if you have cancer.
You know, to be able to look out and see the trees. There's something sort of calming and reassuring about the natural world. And I think that's one of the
And we're
things
very
that's
lucky here because we're just on the edge of an area of outstanding natural beauty. And we've put a staircase down to the ground level. And so you can sit and contemplate in amongst the trees without being disturbed, and that's pretty amazing when you think you're on the edge of a major hospital.
What the Maggie's centres try and do is they try and make you feel like you can just slip in without having to report anywhere or sign any forms. You can just come in and out. Even if you don't really feel like talking to someone, if you just want to sit down and enjoy the beautiful furniture and the atmosphere and the views, then you can do that if you just fancy looking at books and things. It's just like popping into someone's living room that's also your living room at the same time. But I love the lack of uniformity. I love the colours. I love that warmth. You know, people say that the London building hugs them. I've heard that before, and that's definitely true of this building.
My husband was a fairly stereotypical 34-year-old farmer that would not necessarily have found himself sat in a mindful and meditation class in any other time in his life. And yet the way he walked into Maggie's and the way that they dealt with it, he opened his arms to it and fully embraced it.
The future for Maggie's is great because doctors are understanding the enormous value to them of this partnership. So it's been driven by them, it's been driven by Charles and everyone else connected to Maggie who are pushing her legacy forward and forward and forward. It's not just about the physical illness itself, it's about the attitude, it's about the healing the other parts of you and healing your family around you.
But then what's amazing is that, I mean, we always talk about comic relief as putting the fun into fundraising. And one of the things about Maggie's is it is a fun idea.
Yeah.
I mean, that is completely crucial. You could be very honest about all the clinical need, but it's the fun of having a bizarre and fabulous building right next door to an NHS building designed by an amazing architect. It's such a good idea.
People come into this place, they feel that they are not in a hospital, they're not a patient, they are not someone who's lost their individuality to cancer. They are someone who is going to go forward. Maybe different, but go forward. And that's what Maggie Centre gives people, and that's why we all have to work tirelessly to achieve what you want, Laura, what Charles wants, which is to have one of these centres attached to every single cancer hospital in the country. Is it 52? 55. 55.
Landscape and architects and interior design and art are all together in our centres, and they support the cancer patients and the carers. Because when you've had cancer, when you're having cancer, it's of course an attack on your confidence. And the architecture, as this building does, lifts your spirits, makes you able to fight against the dreaded sea and carry on. So thank you to the architects, landscape, and all of you in our community.